Back to the U.S. The city of Jackson, Mississippi has been dealing with water problems for decades now. Broken pipes, leaks, and boil water notices have plagued residents and businesses alike. The community has demanded federal funding to help fix some of these issues, and those calls are finally being answered. National correspondent Tammy Eswick has been following this story for us. Tammy, what's the latest?
Hey, Christian, this is the O.B. Curtis Water Treatment Facility in Jackson, Mississippi, just one of several problem spots that help to contribute to the Jackson water crisis. Now the federal government handing over $600 million to a third-party administrator in order to help with the issues that Jackson has been facing water-wise. And so far, $15 million of that money already in hand. Good news for a Mississippi city that can use some. The Biden administration and the Environmental Protection Agency announced that after decades of disrepair, Jackson's broken water system is getting $115 million in federal funds. It's the first disbursement on a promised $600 million boost from Washington, designed to fix the Mississippi State Capitol's embattled water supply system.
As you all may remember, the city's water system was in crisis at some point last summer. And even long before then, the people of Jackson have lived under constant threat of boil water orders.
Jackson's water problems have included broken and busted pipes, leaks, and boil water notices that have severely threatened local businesses and residents for decades.
I really woke up to the issue that the whole system was being held together by baling wire, Scotch tape, and some duct tape. And chewing gum about 8 years ago.
Last year, after heavy rains taxed the system's failing pumps, Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves affirmed the treatment plant was on the verge of failure. Many residents waited in long lines for clean water to drink, cook, bathe, and clean with.
We've been begging and talking about this with individuals in leadership at the state of Mississippi, from the governor to the lieutenant governor, and we've had the door closed on us. And it took the President of the United States and members of Congress to see and hear our plea.
The feds appointed a third-party water manager, Ted Hennepin, to oversee repairs on the decades-old infrastructure. And on top of that, the city's outstanding debt of $280 million on the water system. Radhika Fox, the EPA Assistant Administrator for Water, says the initial $115 million investment will help provide a long-needed stability to the people of Jackson, roughly a quarter of whom live in poverty.
About 50% of the water that goes through the Jackson water system goes out in leaks. So we're going to be able to resolve that. We're going to be able to make additional investments into operation and maintenance of the systems. And what's so exciting is that this is the first installment of $600 million that the Biden-Harris administration will be putting into really rebuild the Jackson water system.
Though there's a long road ahead to update the city's old water system and treatment plant, Fox says the people of Jackson are already seeing the benefits of the work.
We have been able to make improvements in the operation and maintenance of the water treatment plant, which was the source of the water crisis, where people were without water for many, many days.
Local lawmakers like State Representative Chris Bell say they're confident the investments and ongoing operations will help revitalize the troubled city.
We're just looking forward to getting our economy up and running. It will jumpstart our economy. We won't have to listen to the bad news of Jackson's dirty water or busted pipes and things of that nature. So we're again, eternally thankful for what they've done for us.
Mitch Landrieu, senior advisor to the Biden administration, says this is just enough money to fix some of the issues. It'll stabilize the system. But he says there's still issues on the sewage side that need to be fixed as well. Back to you, Christian.
National correspondent Tammy Eswick, thank you so much. This seems like a lot of money heading in Jackson's direction, but is it enough to make a dent in the city's major water system issues? Joining me now to hopefully answer some of these questions is Ted Hennepin. He's the interim third-party manager of the Jackson water system. Ted, thanks for joining us. $600 million sounds like a considerable amount of funding to fix Jackson's water system. And of course, There was the most recent news that the initial $115 million is coming down the pike. I'm curious to know just how far that money can go and how will it be spent?
Yeah, Christian, thank you for having me tonight. And yeah, it's a big day for Jackson yesterday with the announcement and that first installment on the $600 million, which we saw as a wonderful Christmas present, as the president signed that just before Christmas. And it's been a while to get it here and in place, but we've been making a lot of work up to this point. And as Assistant Administrator Fox mentioned, one of the things we're really focused on is stabilizing the operation and maintenance of the treatment plants. And that is under contract and doing very, very well. Most of the city employees are working for that contractor, and we've got a great resource there. It's Jacobs, and they operate 250 similar plants across the country. So they're bringing to bear some fabulous expertise and backup for us on the treatment plant side. And then we're doing a lot of work in the distribution system, which, as was mentioned in the lead-in, has been the source of a lot of leaks. And as Assistant Administrator Fox said, we are focused on finding and fixing leaks as a major part of this $115 million.
Yeah. Since the crisis last year, what have Jackson residents been dealing with when it comes to accessing clean water?
So the system's been very stable since about the end of January. We had a problem again at Christmas, but we're quicker to resolve that. And since then, it's been very stable. We've been continuing to get the pressure better so that one of the big problems in Jackson wasn't just not getting water out of the treatment plant. It was not having, and a boil water notice, it was not having water at all at thousands of homes. And you can imagine it's one thing to have a boil water notice. You can buy bottled water or get bottled water. But no water at all means no bathing, no flushing your toilets, no basic living, and that's just unfathomable in a city of this size. So we've been laser focused on trying to solve some of those pressure problems early. We've done a lot of that. We've got a number of consultants working with us already, and a big chunk of that $115 million will go to solving some of that for us.
I think a lot of people watching this issue at home have this question, considering the repeated breakdowns of their water system, how has this problem persisted for so long?
Well, it's really, I think it's a culmination of what's happening in a lot of cities across the United States. Maybe Jackson is the bellwether for this. Older core cities where the population moves out as the city had built an infrastructure to support a much larger population. As that tax base and ratepayer base moves away, you have less ability to pay and pay for staff and pay and make the investments you need. And the water rates can't be to the point where they're unaffordable for, in Jackson's case, a significant portion of the population is below poverty. I think we see this playing out across the United States in older core cities. Jackson was just on the lead. And we hope we can set an example on how we can turn this around here in Jackson and put this in everybody's memory in Jackson and not something they have to worry about in the future.
Yeah. Ted Hennepin, interim third-party manager of the Jackson Water System. We appreciate your time and insight tonight. Many thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, and you're very welcome. Thank you.